Doing it now. We are live. Welcome everyone to our daily success call. Power up, fire up, something up, whatever this is called. I'm John Lavenia. I am your host as usual. And it's good to see you all on this wonderful Wednesday, the 8th of December. We are coming into the home stretch with end of year festivities and actions. I do want to give a special shout out. Actually, you know what? Let me shout out to everybody right now. Let's get some people on screen here. I was just so enamored with Scott's background there with that tribe of clowns or whatever. I was just thinking, what would it be like to be a child walking in the other direction as all these clowns are coming towards you? It would be interesting. And you know what? A lot of times, maybe that's how we feel as online marketers, right? Like here we are going in one direction and here's all these clowns coming in the other direction. Good to see Chukwuemeka. There's Tina looking awesome. Great background.
Hi.
Wow. I need that. I need that background. Look at the aesthetics of that. That's beautiful. Anne's here. Ruth, Patrick, Missy. Good to see Scott and Tracy. And of course, Janice is here. And here comes Alec. And nobody else is on camera. Oh, wait, here's Patrick. I see Patrick. There's Janice. Good to see you guys. All right. So we got a lot of people going dark today. Going dark mode. That's okay. I won't go dark mode on you. I'll stay live. I'll stay active here. Anyway, good to see you all. A little topic came up just before the meeting, which, by the way, those of you who tune in live, which is all of you who are hearing my voice right now, plus those of you hearing it on YouTube, there's typically a meeting before the meeting. All right. And sometimes a meeting after the meeting. This room, if you're a member here, you're not just, public, and public is welcome to view on YouTube. Hopefully you're getting some good ideas about, life and business and whatever. But this meeting room is open all the time. So whenever we're not in session, which we have one official session per day in this Zoom room, but whenever we're not officially in session, then, the room's here for you to use. Right? There's no time limits on it or whatever. Just do whatever you want. On rare occasion, if I need to take the account and do something else with it, then it'll, maybe get kicked out or something. But just so you know, meeting before the meeting, I got to meet with a few of our new members, excuse me, a few of our new members this morning. And I mentioned to them, because the question had come up about support. And there's this Facebook group. Oh, well, I don't use Facebook, or I choose not to use Facebook or whatever. Okay, that's fine. And then there's the help desk, right? Which is by email, right? You can email help. And then I think sometimes overlooked, or perhaps not advertised, let's say that, not advertised, is the actual intrinsic support that occurs naturally just by being involved with a group of people who are sympathetic with your purposes and advancing and, doing stuff, and that may have some distinctions that you may not have acquired yet. Because really, what is the difference between, someone who is considered, very high level at whatever trade or skill or whatever it happens to be versus the neophyte? Well, the more advanced person has more distinctions. They can see things that the new person cannot see. Here I am in my world where I've been for a long time. I'm not trying to brag or anything, but I'm among the best at what I do. And I'm pretty much useless at everything else. But these couple of things that I'm really good at, I'm really good at. Okay. So the new person attempting to get into, my world, my profession, the stuff that I do, they may marvel at, oh my goodness, this guy knows so much. And he can do with grace and elegance things that, I need to like study up and whatever, right? How does that happen? Well, it happens with experience. And we can't be all things to all people all the time. Okay. So we're going to find our niche. We're going to develop our strengths and hopefully manage our weaknesses. But it's not a cookie cutter or like a mirror. We're not handing out mirrors here. Everyone doesn't equal everyone, right? Each person has unique talents and abilities, which will develop by our interest and applying that interest and developing an aptitude. All right. So interest renders aptitude. That being said, I like to do stuff good. I like to be right. I like to not make mistakes, right? Does anybody here like making mistakes, especially expensive ones? Anybody like making those mistakes? No, no. Okay, so I'm not alone. That's great. Right. So, so I heard someone say, "Make big mistakes, you'll learn faster." But the topic that came up just as we were about to go live was the idea of learning from our errors. Chukwuemeka, I think you had brought that up. And so, and where else could we learn from? Right, other people's errors, right, other people's mistakes. That's good, and that's why we study. That's why we wear the hat of the student, right, and not just try and pioneer everything unless you've got, endless lifetimes to figure stuff out. Well, let's look back in time and see what the wisdom of the ages says. So that's nice. But the idea that we don't like to make mistakes is one that has been with me for a long time. This may or may not surprise you, but I've, for the most part, been rather risk averse. Like, even though as an entrepreneur, which I've been for decades, by definition, an entrepreneur is one who assumes greater than normal risk for the purpose of business and profitability, right? That's the definition of an entrepreneur. So the word risk is right in there. So I'm the one, or you could say for yourself, right? You're the one investing, risking resources, plural. One of those is money. Okay. What's a more valuable one? Time. Money, we can go get more money. That's fine, right? There's banks handing out money every day. Unless you're in Bangladesh or something, right? I mean, there's money to be had, right? But time, can you go to the time bank and make a withdrawal, get a loan perhaps, right? Sounds like an interesting movie concept. In fact, there was a movie called In Time. Anybody ever seen that movie, In Time? And it starred, was it Justin Timberlake? I think is he a music star or something? I don't know. I'm not too up on pop culture. But the currency of that age in the movie was time. And that somehow bodies, like physical bodies, were implanted with like this thing that in your arm that quantifies the amount of time you have left. And you can exchange with people. I'll take a cup of coffee. All right, that's worth 3 minutes. And they withdraw from your time bank, right? And then there were people who were essentially immortal. By the way, everyone in this movie physically aged until the age of 21. And then at that point, they don't bodily age anymore. So you could be like 300 years old and still look like you're 21. But you've got billions of years on the clock, right? In your time bank, right? And then this is their currency. Interesting movie, by the way. Really, I enjoyed it. Anyway, but this idea that so we're not, by the way, we're not living in that world, in case you're wondering. Okay, that was a movie. That was false. Okay. But in this world, just to make sure we're clear here, John said that I could exchange time. No. But yes, you will exchange time for something. I think we took this up on Monday. You're trading your life or part of it, right? For something to hopefully get good at something. What is that thing, right? It's not all things. Choose. And so you're going to develop distinctions and a level of proficiency at certain things that you've decided for yourself. Hopefully you have, that you're going to invest in that. Okay. So if I'm risk averse, if I'm someone who values one currency over another, let's say, for example, in my upbringing, nobody had money, right? Everybody was broke. They're all working crappy jobs, too much month at the end of the money, trying to make ends meet, all this poverty consciousness crap that so many people live in, like for their whole lives, right? Generation after generation of broke people. And so that's what I was born into. Now, they would piss away time like they were immortal. Diversion after diversion after diversion, okay? But the money is like gold, right? There's a saying, money is the root of all evil. And then I heard George Bernard Shaw, the English playwright, say, lack of money is the root of all evil. Aha. Okay. So in fact, to take it one step further, it was Oscar Wilde who said, there is one class of people who thinks about money more than the rich, and that is the poor. In fact, the poor can think of nothing else. So what are we valuing? What are we willing to risk? And part of that must include our most precious commodity, which is time. Yeah, money, that's valid too. Okay. But when it comes to this idea of making mistakes, or errors or having a loss. That could be a material loss. That could be a loss of time and effort, right? I would say the most tragic loss would be the one you don't learn from, where you get to repeat again and again, like history, right? There's a saying, history repeats itself, which is tragic. And we can see in current times there are things which in terms of civics and governance and everything else, which go in cycles, and people are seeming to want to repeat things that have happened in the past. But what can you do as an individual, as a person who has claimed dominion over your immediate and ongoing financial future? What can you do? You. Where can you be responsible? Where can you take the reins? Where can you say, you know what, I will endeavor in this direction, and I will learn from it, and I will profit from it, because the more you know, right, the more responsibility you accept for your sphere of influence, the more control you have, right? And I can tell you, control equals profit. Okay, you look at any enterprise, right? So we were talking about entrepreneurship. So not only did you assume greater than normal risk, you also got greater than normal rewards. And at the outset, those rewards may seem paltry, and maybe they are. Maybe you just made your first sale. Congratulations. Okay. Does that mean you're retiring now? No. You're just getting started. Okay. But what you put in is what comes out. Here's the question, though, for everyone. What should I put in? What's the optimal use of my time? What's the optimal investment? With money, we can see this in terms of keeping score, like on a chart with investing and trading, right? I bought it at $1. Now it's worth $1.10. Yay. Or now it's worth 90 cents. Right. So we can see that's very easy to look at. What's more ambiguous is this idea of investing time and attention and developing these distinctions and making the errors along the way. And what's that going to be worth, even though I can't see it on a chart right now? I hate making mistakes. And so if that stops me from reaching, if that stops me from endeavoring in the direction that I said I wanted to go in, well, then how can I learn, right? You can't steer a parked car, right? And I suppose you could sit there and have lofty thoughts and prayer and intention and nice, okay, but you must act, you must reach, you must execute. That's where our answers come from. All our answers come from action. They are revealed by our action. So, and with that action, you'll develop distinctions. Think of a scientist in a lab, right? And they mix the chemicals and whatever. Oh, that's an interesting reaction right there. Maybe something good, maybe something bad. I don't know. And we won't know until we actually do it. Okay. So that's, that's part of the heuristic approach. Heuristics means, trial and error, actually learning by attempting, which is really good. Now, in this world where, e-commerce and print on demand and coffee cups, t-shirts, pillowcases, printable items, ornaments, et cetera, in that world, do you have like a crystal ball where this is the ultimate product? I am going to this is going to be a hit. Now, again, you may have the intention of that, and who doesn't, right? You intend to profit from your efforts. Okay, but which ones are going to be the winners? I don't know. Neither do you. Neither does Rachel until she's done it. And for those of you in our advanced group who have access to the private mastermind and everything, Rachel reveals, like, here's my best-selling products this month. And, that's all, private stuff. But, in fact, if you're new here and you'd like to learn how to, what happens behind the scenes with all that, go through the accelerator program with your accountability rep. They'll get you all up to speed on that. Some of you were recently accepted into that group. That's awesome. But there's a statistics that are revealed by here's what actually occurred. Not my opinion, not I hope or anything. Here's what actually occurred, and that can steer the ship, right? And we could say these are the winners, these are the losers. I think the example that came up just before we went live was, here's the famous baseball player, Babe Ruth, let's say, with more home runs than everyone and more strikeouts than everyone. Okay. So many attempts at bat, many risks being taken. What's the alternative? Not risk, not act, No, I don't want to go to bat. Let somebody else go to bat. So you got to have the chutzpah to step up, right? And when we assess, what are we actually putting on the line? Well, that's for you to assess. Sure, time, money, reputation. A lot of times people are stopped. A lot of times people don't reach because of the whole fear of criticism, right? Not so much about, the opportunity cost, but what will they think? What will they think? Who are they? I don't know. Your friends, family, neighbors. I heard someone once say, don't worry about what your neighbors think. They probably don't, right? Thinking is hard work, right? Don't be so presumptuous. People think. Okay, so, but you need to think. And so what's it worth to you to be victorious in this? I could tell you that we've got people here who have put a lot of attention and intention into some beautiful aesthetic designs that have fallen flat in the marketplace. Do we now get introverted about that and be like, oh, I'm my best thinking sucks and I'm a failure, or do we just say, like Rachel showed you, you know what, we're going to have lots of designs. How about 1,000 designs? And flippantly, they throw some coffee mug design together or whatever they do, and it's a hit. So again, we don't have crystal balls. Mine's on back order, has been for a long time. Okay. But the idea that while you have the intent and you're taking the action, you can't predict necessarily with accuracy because you don't have these distinctions of what's going to be a hit and what isn't. And when we get into the field of sales and marketing, which is actually the game we're playing here, all marketing is a test. So even with people who are way further down the road, millions of dollars, right? They're still creating stuff which may or may not hit. They've got more distinctions. They can say, well, that, you know what, I've seen that before and that definitely doesn't work, right? So they could save themselves time. They can invest more wisely, okay? But that doesn't mean that they, definitely are going to have a hit in the marketplace. There are other industries, music, for example, okay, where you've got people who they had a big. Anybody ever heard the term one hit wonder? One hit wonder, right? So who knows some one hit wonders? I'm thinking of one right now from the 1980s. Tony Basil. Anybody know Tony Basil? One hit wonder. How about I sing you the song? Are you ready for the song? You're going to be like, oh yeah, I know that song. Oh, Mickey, you're so fine. You're so fine. You blow my mind. Hey, Mickey. Yeah. Who hasn't heard that song? Okay. Tony Basil. Any other hits from Tony Basil? None. Okay. So hi, Karen. So I'll mute the mics in case I dare sing again. Okay. But one hit wonder. Okay. Did they want to be a one hit wonder? Did anybody say, oh, I'm going to enter the music business to be a one hit wonder? Probably not. Right. But that one, man, did that catch fire. And if you're younger here and you've never heard Mickey, get on YouTube or something and listen. I mean, you'll be hearing the song in your mind all day, whether you like it or not. Okay. So it's just sticky. It's real sticky. Okay. But what's going to stick? Not quite sure. Here's the contrast, right? Here is someone who's been at it for so long that, it seems like everything they do turns to gold. Billy Joel. All right. Now, how many hits can you think of from Billy Joel, right? Or Elton John, or, some of these, I don't know, you whatever you're into, right? But the idea that they kept swinging. Okay. By the way, you can buy some of these classic Elton John albums or whatever, and maybe there's one or two hits on it out of 10 songs. So not every one was a hit. So even at that level, right, there's still some experimentation. So who are you to condemn or second guess yourself because you've been in this business for 90 days or something and you haven't made $1 million yet? That's what I'm thinking, right? Is to give ourselves a little bit of a break, right? Again, I don't like to make mistakes. I like to be right. I grew up in an environment where, you got to be perfect. Everything's never good enough and all that. So whatever stories you got about that, you got to deal with that. Okay. I'm not your counselor. Well, I guess in a way I am, but you can get therapy. You can read books. You can do what you like. I've been at it for 35 years and, I've made progress arguably, but, but the idea that you need to always be right. Look, I've never learned anything by being right. What did we already say? We learn from our errors. I've never learned anything by being right. And I could sit here and assert my rightness to you and tell you how right and how awesome I am. But there's no evolution in that. Okay. Where do we learn? We learn by reaching and observing the result, gaining those distinctions. And then we can go better, stronger, faster, right? Because we've acted, because we've observed the fruits of our action, right or wrong, good or bad. And it's all by degree. It's all by degree, right? What's perfect? What's total crap? It's somewhere in the middle. Okay. So you assess that for yourself, but that doesn't happen if you're sitting there just theorizing alone. We must act and give yourself a break, right? So even Rachel and people who are way bigger than Rachel in terms of business and commerce and all that, they don't have a crystal ball either. Okay. They just got some distinctions, which came from plenty of action, lots of action. Am I making any sense? I hope so. I'd love to hear you guys. What thinks you? What is this? The Twist by Chubby Checker. Yeah. Take on me. Aha! Take on me. Yes. In time, Amber. There you go. What's another one-hit wonder? Come on out, you guys. Let's have some fun here. Tell me about one-hit wonders that you like. Oh my goodness. Nobody's unmuted. You can unmute your mics. You can raise your hands. Let's get this show on the road here. We got a few minutes. Then we can chit chat. Missy, and then we'll go to Scott, and then yes, come on, Missy.
John, you're too young. You don't know songs like "Tie Me Kangaroo Down, Boy."
Yeah, I know "Tie Me Kangaroo Down." That was
Rolf Harris.
That's it, Rolf. 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 Yes, Australian guy.
Well,
yeah,
that's good. There were a million of them, but that is not what I intend to be. I intend to be a steady Eddie, keep moving, explosions, avalanches of abundance.
Mm-hmm.
And I just know for sure it's going to happen. And we got advertised again on YouTube last night with mugs being held up. And
Wow.
but so it's just a constant every day waking up saying, I got to do it again. I got to do it again. I got to stay with it. And as we just heard from another good friend, you cannot give up until you win the game. It's a game. You talk about flippancy. It's a game. Make it a game. And you're just going to keep going. It doesn't matter if you have 3 days, 3 months. You're just going to go on until there's nothing, you have gone from this realm and there's nothing left for you to go on here. Then you'll go on somewhere else. But that's all it is. You just must keep doing it every day with expectancy. And if it doesn't come that day, that doesn't mean you give up your expectancy. You expect it the next day. And don't be looking at other people's sales and comparing your store to their stores. What do you say? Don't compare your insides to something like that.
Don't compare your insides to other people's outsides.
Right. It will happen for you when it happens. And it will. If you follow the system, it will. It can't not. It's science. So that's my contribution.
Beautiful. Thank you, Missy. Voice of experience there. Missy, hooray. Let's go to Scott. Hey, Scott, and then we'll go to Tina.
Hello, John. John, you were talking before about time being a very limited resource, which it is. It's a finite resource. So I think that the key there is how to manage that resource. So time management, obviously. So, and what I found is if you can make yourself more efficient in utilizing that resource, then obviously you get more out of it. So you have to increase your knowledge, increase your skills, and increase your abilities so that your power over that resource is enhanced. Because as you've probably seen, and a lot of people have said that when someone comes in here fresh and new, they waste a lot of time because they don't know how to select what's important and what's not. It's sort of like an amorphous cloud of information. But eventually, once you have greater understanding and knowledge, you can see the water droplets in the cloud, and you can see all the elements, and you can pick what's significant and what's not. Like, for example, the other day I was going through some of the initial stuff again on keywords and word selection, that sort of thing. It's like I never saw it before, because now I'm seeing things that I never saw before in the way Rachel used certain words and certain concepts, and the way she described things, which I was went over my head the first time. But now I'm saying, oh, that's a little gold nugget there. That's a little gold nugget there. And I can get 10 times more out of it now than when I first came through, because I've changed. My time management is more efficient now. I know I wasted a lot of time to begin with as well. But also, can I also mention one other thing too? You talked about we don't know if this thing's going to work or not. We don't have a crystal ball, which apparently yours is still on. It's still due to be delivered.
Yeah.
I look at have you ever seen? You've probably seen Harry Potter, where he was in the situation where he's using a time device, and he went to the future and so forth, and he had to fight off all these Dementors that were trying to kill his uncle. And in one scene, he saw this person who didn't know who it was fight off 100 Dementors at one time. And when he realized that was him, that he'd already done it, then it was very easy. And that's, I think, exactly what happens with goals. If you accept reality as something you can mold in some way, then you have a vision of yourself already achieving that goal. And then it's just a question of, well, I've already done it in my mind. So now just a question of fulfilling that. Because if you're questioning whether you can do it or not, it's a distraction. It's a big distraction. You've got to assume you've already done it and then just fill in the blanks. And I find that mindset really helps a lot.
Yes, Scott. So the vision of accomplishment, yes,
has already achieved.
So that's right. So that's already, yeah, that's a done. Okay, but all the little, you said fill in the blanks. That's where people get stuck. So what combination of actions or drama leads up to that triumphant, guaranteed future outcome? That's where I don't have a crystal ball. Okay, so if we're stuck in the minutia of it, right? Well, this coffee cup design didn't work. Oh my goodness, I might not reach my goal now. Whoa. Okay, we reach every goal we set. Right.
Those things cease to matter as much, because the prize is there. You've already got it in your hand. How you get there, I think you'll be shown the way. You'll find your way. One way or another, you're going to get there, because you can see, because you do have a crystal ball. I think it's in your mind. It really has that much power. That's what I think. That's what I've seen anyway.
There you go. So great distinction, Scott, between what we're knowing to be true, which is that we achieve every goal we set, versus what I'm assessing here as the drama that leads up to it, which has innumerable variables, which is why I don't know which design is going to be the best or whatever, because we got 7.5 billion variables on the planet right now. They're called people, right? And they're interested in different stuff every day. I don't know. How can I know? So beautiful. Thank you, Scott. Let's go to Tina and then Nadia. Hi, Tina.
Hi, guys. So I was definitely listening to all your comments, and I do think that your mindset makes a difference. I've had a weird couple of days. I used to be like very negative thinking, and after one of the accelerated courses, I kind of started changing my mindset, which has kind of helped. But I also have a question. So how do you balance? I noticed that even being in the Facebook group and kind of looking at others' accomplishment is helpful in promoting me or inspiring me. But then it can kind of it's a bad idea when I'm doing the comparison, how did they sell so many mugs? So I guess my question is, how do we let that motivate but not discourage?
Right. Great question. And I think I could tell you from a number of books that I've read, one of the most detrimental attitudes or emotional postures that you could have would be envy. So envy is that emotion which makes money take flight. Okay. Or being critical of others' success, right? Well, they achieved success by crooked means, right? So being critical. So that all comes from comparison, right? Where you think you are versus where you think other people are. Like Missy reminded us before, don't compare your insides to other people's outsides. So I might look at, in the position that I'm in, I may look at people who are further down the road in terms of making money than I am, and feel envious. But what don't I know? What don't I know? Keep in mind, on Facebook, everybody's Rockefeller. Everybody, Tina, everybody's life is working. Look at the glamour shots. Everybody's life is working. And then you get them on the phone. Oh, no, it ain't. Oh, no, it ain't. Right? They got problems. You don't want their problems. You go look at the celebrity, like the gossip rags, right? You're at the checkout in the supermarket, and here's all the celebrities. These are special people. You're not special, but these people, in fact, you should be interested in them. In fact, you should spend money to know more about their lives, right? Because you wish you were like them. No, you don't. No, you don't. I guarantee you don't. I don't want their problems, right? So, so if you can remain objective about it, if you could just look, by objective, I mean objects, statistics, not subjective, not your opinions, okay? Oh, that was a working campaign. Look at the statistics. How nice. I could do something like that. I just got an idea. I rejoice in that person's success. Thank you for sharing your example with me. Now I am here to outproduce it. And then they'll be looking at you thinking, oh, that Tina, oh my goodness, how does she do that? I'm so envious. Oh. So the fact that you can have those emotions means so can they. There you go. I love you, Tina. Glad you're here. Great background too, by the way. Wow. 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 Do you know where that is? Is that a certain place?
I don't know where it is. It's just one of the default backgrounds for Zoom. But I love traveling and I love nature. So it's just like, yeah, I'm going to put it
I'm
there.
thinking Ireland.
That's what I was thinking. I've been to Ireland and it looks familiar. So maybe.
Yeah, it's green and cloudy and misty and stuff. And look, there's a spot of sun. Look at that.
Yep.
I didn't know
it's a perfect picture. Yeah. Like, yeah.
All right. Let's go to Nadia. And then I don't see any other hands up. Hey, Nadia.
Hey there.
Nadia.
Perfect. Excellent.
Thank you. Right.
Perfect. So I just wanted to layer on top of some of the things that people have been saying today. And I just made this connection while you guys were talking to something that my mother always used to say in childhood. Whenever I would get in trouble at school, or if there was something I didn't really know how to do quite well, and she would, correct me, teach me how to do it, I'd get a little discouraged, and she would say, you know what, that's okay. This is how you chip away at what you're becoming. She used to say it was the sculpture I was becoming. So you're chipping away all these little things. And that I feel like can apply to, especially, I'm still in the startup phase of this business, especially to this startup. I like the phrase Scott used of an amorphous cloud. Sometimes it can feel like that. There's so many links and so many videos and so many things I need to learn and click on and do. And it's just, oh my goodness. And some of the other things he was saying, were also pretty awesome. But if you kind of and it's like, where do I start? Do I start on the shoulder? Do I start on the hand? Do I start on the foot? What part of the sculpture do I start on? But if I just start, especially with the ADD brain, oh my gosh, overwhelmed, it's just like pencil. But if I just start and keep chipping, and every day I chip away a little bit more, and I guess that's, cliche. Was that you who said it's cliche because it works? Yeah, so I just wanted to throw that little sculpture thing out of there. How do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time. That always grosses me out a little bit. But I can do a sculpture. I know.
Awesome. Thank you, Nadia. You're breaking up right at the end.
Did you guys hear me okay? I know my little Bluetooth.
Okay. Yeah, we just did a little break up there at the end, but thank you. And that whole idea of the sculpture, I remember hearing the story of the guy who's chipping away at a rock, and this little boy comes around, and every day he comes around, and eventually the sculpture's done, and the boy asks the sculptor, "Mister, how did you know that guy was in there?" Right? So it was just a rock. Now it's the statue, and so the statue was always in there. Interesting metaphor. Thank you, Nadia. I got to say your name a few more times. All right. So I don't see any other hands up except Scott. And then Alex got a hot mic. Scott, you had another thought?
Yeah, another thing. You mentioned before about I think maybe Missy mentioned before about the fear of criticism. Oh, you mentioned it, about fear of criticism, and that can be a limiting factor because we're so worried about what other people will think and so forth. But what I find is that I am very reluctant to share my goals or dreams with anyone. I would rather show them, because bullying is a very real thing, and criticism like that can amount to bullying, and it's very prevalent. I mean, in the hospital where I worked, bullying was a huge problem, and it is in a lot of industries and a lot of things in life. So if you know that's 90% of people have that capacity, you don't share what's precious with you. You show them, because most people won't understand and they won't want you to move ahead for their own emotional reasons. It doesn't really matter why. If you've got something precious and you share it with someone who will understand it and appreciate it, great. But if you don't have that person, then just keep it to yourself. There's no point throwing yourself under the bus of someone else's criticism and bullying, which it is, it's bullying. Just keep it away until the time's right, and they'll see soon enough. And then they can't criticize. There's nothing to criticize. And it won't matter anyway. That's just a thought.
There you go. I hadn't considered that. Well, I haven't been in the job world for a long time, but I do know, having dealt with lots of people, that there are people who are antagonistic towards your purposes because it challenges their own beingness or self-worth or whatever their story is about it. Tragic waste of attention and energy, I think. But yeah, I guess people mature at different rates. I see Alec and Ann have a hot mic, and then Scott just put his hand up. Scott Kelly. Alec, did you have a comment?
Actually, no. Today, I didn't realize that you could see my mic was on, but
I see everything.
it was just yeah, it was just really really, I just wanted to hear what everybody else had to say. And,
Well, glad you're here, brother. Glad
thank
you're
you,
here.
sir.
Looking awesome. Let's go to Ann real quick, and then we'll go
Yeah,
to.
I guess everybody's heard of the crab bucket, right? The crab bucket. Crab
Yeah.
tries to crawl out of it. No one else wants him to crawl out because he's moving forward and they're not, that kind of
Right.
thing. Yeah, that's kind of about, gotta ignore all that stuff.
Sure.
All that stuff.
Crabs in the bucket. And if you got
Yeah.
one crab, you got to have a lid on it because he'll get out. If you got multiple crabs, no lid. Yeah, no lid.
No later. Well,
I-
one was
I
trying
knew
to get
that-
out. The others are pulling him back, trying to pull him back because they're jealous.
Yeah.
And moving
Great,
forward.
great metaphor,
Yeah.
Ann. Yeah,
Okay,
and
I'll
and
let
in
you have that.
and in Australia they call it tall poppy syndrome.
Yeah.
Tall poppy, right?
Really?
Yeah. So if you're taller than the other poppies, they want to cut you down.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, sounds about right.
There you go.
Yeah,
Love you,
good.
Ann. Glad you're here.
Thank you.
All right, Scott. Scott Kelly, take
Always
us home.
love
What are we
it.
doing
You know,
next?
but how you doing? How's everybody doing today? But yeah, the blue crab syndrome.
Mhm.
You know, where when you go crabbing
Mhm.
and you're going for blue crabs, they're easy to catch and they're easy to keep in the basket. And when they put them in there, they try to crawl out, but the crabs at the bottom keep pulling back down, saying, "No, you can't go nowhere."
Yeah.
So it's that blue crab syndrome is what I was always told what that is. It's just like that when other people, where you're letting them pull you back down in that basket again. And, and something I've learned today too, and all these things that when you take these negative thoughts, these negative things, it really has an effect on our subconscious, and it's just not a healthy, and it doesn't serve you very well. So, it's an easy way of looking at it. Maybe just asking that question, is this serving me? No. And then you look away from it and walk away or do something. However you're going to handle it. I call it throw it away, just throw it away or leave it right there, but that's, don't do anything with it. Don't even pick it up and give it the recognition that it wants, because it doesn't deserve it, really. So that's my opinion.
There you go. Thank you, Scott.
Mm.
Beautiful insights from everyone here today. How awesome. What a great group we have here, right? And we're just getting started. So what are we going to do next? I'll tell you what we're going to do next. We're going to get off of this platform. We're going to get to work. And tomorrow, Karen's going to be here with you. I'll be back with you on Friday for Fun Friday. Think of a joke or something and bring your animals. We like to have a dog show. And in the meantime, those of you I'm meeting with on business launch sessions today, I am looking forward to that. If you're new here, definitely stick close with your accountability rep, and they will have you up and running with all the more advanced stuff that we're doing. So anyway, love you guys.